This week on Piddle, we're facking off with Mightybear. Zirene is back for some real talk, and
we have a pause.
Oh, we have a pause.
We do.
We have a pause. Pulse.
We do.
We do have a pause.
Really? What do we have, Deficio?
I'm not happy about it.
sorry about that. Technical difficulties. We're just gonna skip to the very best part. PrimeTime League search right now!
Oh my God! He stole the Elder Dragon! Sneaky!
Jatt Green Wings are going to be the first team to take down SK Telecom T1 in the summer split with a 2-1 victory.
EDG will retain the most dominant position in the LPL.
Hello, welcome to PrimeTime League! I'm Rivington Business III, and this master of disguise is Aiden Zirene Moon. We're about to get freaky up in the LCS.
Just to prove that I'm Aiden Zirene Moon. Freak sucks and so do puns.
We have that on tape now. It's official! All champions have now been played in competitive League of Legends, as a rookie of Invictus Gaming was the first to take Talia to the big stage over in the LPL. This is a huge win for champion diversity everywhere.
And we got to see her played support by Double Doge over in Turkey, so that's really awesome. And honestly, if you talk about it, Champs played in multiple roles. Garen, Skarner, Teemo, and Warwick have also been played in 2 roles in top tier play. So, you know, similar boat to be in. Honestly, though, I think Talia is actually quite good. I think people had to learn the champion. Also, the last round of buff certainly helped. And I think at this point, like, as we're seeing people playing her, I think she's totally viable.
I'm excited. I want to see it in the NALCS. Hopefully we get some of our own Talia play. There are currently 6 teams that remain undefeated in the major regions around the world. That means no match losses. These are Team Solo Mid, G2 Esports, H2K, Flash Wolves, J-Team, and Edward Gaming.
Yeah, these, honestly, it's pretty awesome. So we're seeing teams in Europe and the LMS are playing best of 2s, so you just assume they won game 3. You know, if you want to kind of like pretend they're not cheating, of course, G2 and HK played each other, which makes that awkward.
Yep.
Either way, TSM, Flash Wolves, and EDG definitely look like the strongest in their respective regions. I think G2 kind of rounds into that one as well. I think they're slightly better than H2K, but they went 1-1, so you can kind of argue which one is actually better.
It's crazy how a few of the teams at MSI went back and did well. I'm excited already to see what happens at the next international event. And it's so far away.
October, you know, you got 3.5 months. We'll get there.
Thanks for making it sound not so far away, Freak.
3.5 months. I got you.
Now you'll notice that one team wasn't on that list. We're looking at you, SKT, who suffered their first loss of the split against the Jatt Green Wings. And to rub salt into the wounds earlier this morning, they were also 2-0'd by the Freak of Freaks in a performance that echoed their MSI slump.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Faker obviously had very, very bad games in LeBlanc. I mean, so did the rest of the team overall. Like, their KDA across those matches was pretty poor. The really funny thing, though, is the team that SKT perfect game that we talked about last week, MVP, they beat Jatt, who beat SKT. So there's some weird rock, paper, scissors thing going on where Korea's doing weird stuff. I actually think it's a bit of SKT playing a longer season and just trying things out. After they lost to Freak of Freaks, they didn't seem very sad. They're just kind of like, well, we lost, but they're just kind of whatever, so I think there's a chance that they just bounce and, you know, come back.
It's SKT. I think they'll do that.
This
is like that point where they're down 50,000 gold and they're still going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, SKT are clearly a very good team. You lose 2 matches, okay, that sucks, but we expect them to do well later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
No?
It's the latest edition of My Check. Do you hear that?
No, I don't.
Shut up. Can we play the video?
We are born ready. Yes, we are ready. Hashtag we ready. Hashtag we ready. Hashtag vacation is over.
Never sing here, or it instantly goes into the mic check thing.
I actually didn't get for the singing last time.
Luckily.
Maybe you need to sing again.
Yes, this time better.
I don't want to be rude, Gilius, but I got both Baron and Elder Drake.
Yeah, I need to practice my Zirene.
Really, CB.
It's my Zirene!
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there.
You're here.
Maybe I can gank top 2.
I got it.
Nice.
Good job.
Not bad.
Nice! Holy shit!
Oh, nice!
Holy shit! Is that a W?
Yeah.
Holy shit! All right, go to Dragon. Go to Dragon.
Let's rush Baron.
Holy
Sneaky W.
Shit.
Sneaky W.
Good job. All right, nice.
Low. It is 220 damage.
I don't get the same kind of excitement playing Braum, you know?
Why they not
What?
You get the controlled,
what is it, excitement.
I don't get excited.
Wait,
Carrying the team with their comps.
Winning is the most fun you can have, man.
Wait, we're killing Keith. I'm helping Keith. We're killing Rumble. Run Rumble.
Nice.
Nice. Back up.
Good job, guys.
Back. Almost mid. I'm pushing.
Yeah, push.
That's it. Okay. Take deep breath, guys.
Let's go.
Can we get them?
Slow.
Nice. We can finish this.
Like, turn it.
I can stop.
He's slow.
Wow. See ya.
I'm fine.
Okay, nice.
No, flash.
Nice.
Keep fighting.
Mid take all kills, yeah. Support carry. XD.
Just talk about everything.
Yeah.
If you guys feel like it's not relevant, who cares? Talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about like your pizza or something. I don't know.
What is the taco?
Taco?
Name of the food?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's like a shell with vegetables and meat.
Ah.
I have no mana.
Focus on overject, guys. Focus on overject.
Yeah. Nick is an okay though.
Go ahead. Tower.
Kill. The guy is just too excited. Can we just tower?
Let's hunter.
Peel.
Chinko Tsugi.
Hey, Gragas is on me. Gragas, finish. Stop him finishing. I'm gonna Elburn Tronto. Finish Gragas first.
Can we finish?
Yeah, we can finish.
We have 2 nits.
Go top. Yeah, go top.
Oh my.
Let's go top.
Holy shit!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first FAQ Off of the Summer Split. I'm honored to have Vitality jungler Mightybear here to FAQ Off with me. Thank you very much for coming. I've never FAQ'd off with a bear before. How are you today?
So exciting because I have this interview, so I'm so excited.
Yay, I'm very happy to hear that. All right, Mr. Bear, here's how FAQ Off works. For the next 2 minutes, I'm going to read the questions that our viewers have tweeted in and they want to ask you and they want to know from Mighty Bear. And you've just got to do your best to answer as many questions as you can in the 2 minutes.
Okay.
Make sense to you?
Yep.
Now, I know that you did understand because you've already been replying to tweets like this one on Monday. Comes from @SpacemanRiff. He was talking about Mighty Bear, not as strong as Russian Bear. Did you mean Diamond Procs?
No, just joke.
Okay.
Yeah, we know Russian Bear is so strong. Just I say, my mean is that I'm more strong bear than Russian Bear, so it's just a joke.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a joke. All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day we'll see you against Diamond Procs as well. All right. Let's get this FAQ Off started and see how mighty you really are. Get that timer ready. Let's start it in 3, 2, 1. This question comes from @UnknownVirus. Who's the best jungler in Europe at the moment?
Now I think G2 Trick is the best jungler in EU.
And will you be able to catch him?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I like that. Next question comes from @AdrianMisk. This is 2 parts, and the second one said, how did you come up with your nickname?
Before my nickname is Moon, but Moon is also in China and NA, so I need a more specially nickname. So I asked my manager, Gabor, so Gabor said to me, you look like Mightybear, so...
That is so good. I like that one.
Yeah, so I just did.
That is great. Thank you for that. All right, the next question comes @TheBackQuill. When your mid Nuke Duck asks for ganks all day, 24/7, do you sometimes tell him to FAQ off?
I just say, oh, wait in Nuke Duck, and then I don't go.
So you troll him. I like that.
Yeah.
Next question @WavyYX. What is the worst jungle pick that you have ever seen?
Actually, Shaco is terrible to teammates, and then enemy also don't like Shaco, so both team or enemy don't like.
I agree with you. I hate him as well.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next one from @McBantar101 tweets, I just got into Bronze 2, so party at Mighty Bear's house?
Unfortunately, if you're Bronze 1, you can come party at my house, but Bronze 2 is no.
Not good enough? Only Bronze 1 up?
Yeah, Bronze 1 up.
Okay, Bronze 1 up. One last question @MaViewer tweets, are you satisfied with your overall team?
Yeah, of course. all my teammates so kind to me, and always talk about the game. We can focus on the summer split, so it's good.
That's good. Only when you're trolling Nuktak if he's asking for ganks and you say no. That's it?
Yeah.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of Fack Off. Thank you, oh mightiest of bears, for playing. It was great asking you all those questions.
Yep, thank you very much.
You can watch this predatory beast and his Vitality team take on the Giants this Thursday and first place G2 this Friday during our Week 4 coverage of the European League Championship Series.
Now it's time to break it down. That with the NALCS and TSM are still the top dogs in North America as your only undefeated team. Maybe they can thank Coach Weldon for that.
Maybe they can, or maybe they should just thank Bjergsen for 1v9ing every game anyway. No. Honestly, though, they're at the top. They're closely followed right now by both Immortals and Team Envy. Envy, speaking of them right now, I mean, obviously a great start for them, but now, this next week, they're playing both TSM and Cloud9. This is really going to tell you what they're made of. If they drop to 5-3, okay, they're good, but not super amazing. If they win one or both those matches, they're clearly a very top team.
Yeah, and Cloud9 coming up for them. Cloud9 are doing their best to break records. This time they're heading for most games played. And then NALCS, with another weekend of a 3-game series, they're going to really try to make it hard on themselves. Moving on, Liquid and Apex sit in the middle of the pack, with Liquid now splitting time between AD carries Fabi and Piglet. And Apex are trying their hardest to convince us that Jarvan is viable. Make it happen, right?
Definitely a possibility. I'm afraid myself, but it's okay. Counterlogic Gaming, though, are still counterlogically tilted after doing well at MSI, so their faith well has dried up, which means that if no one believes in them, they'll probably do well again. That's how CLG works. If you don't believe in them, they do wonderfully. It's like the opposite of Never Neverland or something. I'm sure there's some fantasy thing where it only works if you believe in it. Either way, Beetlejuice, who knows? Cop turned in his badge and gun. He and Echofox have parted ways. He's no longer their coach, and all the Team Dignitas fans need to give their energy to Kiwi Kid because, well, his team's not doing very well. Week 2 energy looked okay. Week 3 energy looked bad, just like Week 1 did.
Yeah, they're going to have to turn things around, as well as finally Phoenix won. They are still winless, and even I'm struggling to think of more Phoenix Rebirth metaphors. I even asked this guy.
Yeah, there's none.
Didn't work.
Nope.
And moving on,
despite you're wrong.
Despite TSM's dominance here in the NALCS, there is still an interesting trend that we've seen in their matches this split. Looking at the matches, their opening games tend to be resounding wins, and their Game 2 is substantially worse by comparison. Their only losses have come during those Game 2s, and their average KDA between games is 11.5 and 4.0 respectively.
Yeah, and you can see all the stats on your screen in a second right here. Their gold leads are worth, etc., etc., etc. Some of this is just like, well, sometimes you lose games, and when you lose games, your stats look a little bit worse. I think it's honestly more of TSM understanding that they're playing this split to improve. Everybody's eyes are on Worlds. Now that the individual games don't mean quite as much, you're seeing teams play more aggressively. You're seeing them try more things out there, and I think we'll see, TSM uses as learning experiences to, like, there's actually, Doublelift on stream had said he wanted to lose a game to Energy just to see how teams would abuse them. Like, what their mistakes were so that someone could kind of pry them open. So I think this is TSM just probably improving over time.
It'll be very interesting because it doesn't seem like anybody has cracked the shell, but this is kind of seeing TSM now not coming from a losing position, not having to fix up a lot of patches, kind of float around at the top still, but being at the top, people are going to have to be afraid.
And the cool thing is there's a lot of really good teams. I think there's 4 very high quality teams in NA with TSM, Immortals, C9, and Envy, and those will take games off each other all the time.
Well, we'll see what happens. Sometimes it takes a... David, what are you still doing here?
Standing.
You know this is the pro, not Twitter or fantasy.
Yeah, isn't it for me? Isn't it? Am I the?
No, go do Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, freak. This is my domain. Sometimes it takes a pro to know the pro. Are you a pro? How many pros are out there this week? That's what we wanted to find out when we gave you the eye earlier this week. But whose eye is it? I'm sure you want to know. Let's find out. If you guessed that it was Team Envy's jungler Proxen, then you would have been correct. Good looking out. Proxen started his pro gaming career in Korea. After a quick stop off in Japan, he found his way to the sunny shores of California and became the starting jungler for Team Impulse. Now on Team Envy, he's finally found his groove. Proxen currently holds the highest gold per minute of any junglers in the NALCS and is third in both KDA and kill participation. Pretty nice. This weekend, he'll get to prove his worth against Svenskeren and Meteos as Team Envy take on TSM and Cloud9.
Hey everybody, it's time for story. Once upon a time, there was a Twitter segment, and almost everyone who entered it sucked. The end. Cool story, right? Well, it's true. Last week, we asked you which undefeated LCS teams, plural, would lose a match in Week 3, and for a spot in Hall of Fame, you had to tell us how many deaths there would be across those teams. Well, if your answer featured exactly Team Envy and Rocket, then congratulations, you are doing better than almost everyone else in this story. Team Envy lost to Immortals. Rocket lost both their matches over the weekend. So 11 of you are awesome and worthy of a small amount of praise for predicting the fact that these teams would lose. But it's not quite good enough to join me in the Hall of Fame because, well, there are more deaths than any of you would ever guess. So sadly, you got that one wrong. It's okay, 50-50. Now, let's talk about next week's, whatever, Week 4's Twitter question. Now, last week, the top 3 players in fantasy points in an individual game, like all-time best game in that week, were Trick, Sneaky, and Keen. Now, this week, we want you to tell us who will score the most fantasy points in a single game in Week 4 of the LCS. So tell us the player. If you want to get in the Hall of Fame, tell us how many fantasy points that will be for that single game to the nearest whole number, so round it. There's your question. Good luck. It's going to be really hard. Tweet your predictions to @LevelEsports. Use the hashtag PTL, and we'll see if we can write a better story this week.
Welcome, everybody, to the PTL Fantasy segment where I get to fly solo this week to help optimize your fantasy LCS drafts. That means I actually get my real name. I'm Optimus Tom. Let's kick it off with the studs behind me here. We got a couple of top laners and a mid laner to talk about, but the big key for the studs is going to be long games. Both Impact and Keen are going to be in for long games this week. Keen specifically wants some wins against Team Liquid and Fox to put up those big fantasy points. But let's talk about some guys who aren't going to be performing as well, the duds. Now, 2 of them come from the same team, and that's Origin, who are going up against both Fnatic and Splice this week. Fnatic offers the least opposing fantasy points against junglers, so Amazin's going to have a hard time. And Power of Evil, his projections are less than average for other mid laners, so there's a lot of better options to pick up, like Keen, who's a stud. And of course, we have Piglet on the side there. We don't really know if he's playing or not, so you might not want to start him off there, like 85% of you that still have him. But let's move on to some more risky business here, the risky picks. 3 different guys, all of them are going to have some pretty tough matchups this week, but they could kind of be one-game wonders, especially in those best game fantasy point leagues as opposed to the 2-game leagues. Sunstar particularly is a bit of a surprise to see up here, but if Giants is able to grab a win in one of those games this week, he puts up an average of 37.03 fantasy points and wins, which is insane. It's pretty good. But this week we also got a chance to turn to the Fantasy LCS subreddit and answer your guys' biggest questions about the Fantasy LCS. Now, something I kept seeing that was brought up a lot, specifically by user Frankie464, was, do you think Smoothie or Bunny are good pickups as support with them constantly sharing playtime on C9? Well, Frankie and everybody else in Fantasy LCS land, it really depends on the structure of your league. If you're in that 2-game league, you really want to stay away from subs because you never know if they're going to be subbed out in game 2 or if they're going to start to begin with, so it's really difficult to predict who's going to be going there. In the best game league, the switching up might actually wind up working out for you guys, especially like Cloud9 because they seem content to put both Bunny and Smoothie in consistently. But you're going to want to know who puts up the points when and when it matters. Now, Bunny on average puts up 2.5-ish fantasy points per game more in losses than Smoothie, but Smoothie crushes Bunny in wins with about 10.4 fantasy points per game more when they actually win games. Now, Cloud9 has played a lot of games this split, and even though they have a very positive record, they have put up a decent number of losses in games. So if you're looking for consistency, why don't you go for the 4th best fantasy pick, Hakuo? He's only owned in like 30% of the league, so you might as well just pick him up for consistency. Anyway, guys, that's all the fantasy we got time for today. And until next time on PTL, don't forget to check out the Fantasy LCS subreddit and get your questions heard on air.
Now it's time to quickly look back at last week's European LCS games. 9 out of 10 series resulted in a 2-0 victory, securing 3 points for the winning team. The only tied series was H2K against G2, and it swung super heavily. H2K were able to win a game off a team fight that led to Baron, and G2, on the other hand, they simply Goomba stomped the early game. This allows them to maintain their top-of-the-table placements. Schalke maintained their middle of their table position alongside a very meditative-looking Splice, while Rocket, unfortunately, they took a nosedive. They dropped all 4 games, they fell 3 spots, they're down in 7th position. Continuing to surprise is Origin sitting in that 9th position spot. They picked up their first series win against Roccat, only to get taken down the next day by Giants 2-0, and this is becoming a worrying trend for the team that placed second in the spring split. Finally, rounding out the table, the Unicorns of Love continue to look like a deservedly 10th place team. Unless big changes are coming to the Unicorns, they might just become extinct. Look, maybe Unicorns as the animal aren't real, but neither is this team's chances at a playoff position if things continue at this rate. That does it from last week's LCS. For now, be sure to tune into Mid Lane Week starting here in Europe on Thursday at 5 p.m. CEST.
Summer 2015 CLG. Spring 2016 Week 5 TSM, Week 6 Renegades, Week 7 Liquid, and TSM in the quarterfinals. Each one of these teams saw an improvement in their performance at those times, but what do they all have in common? Weldon Green, sports psychologist trainer, current performance coach for the undefeated TSM, and the man responsible for the term, the Weldon effect. Now, Weldon would work with a team for a week, and they would instantly see results which led to the coining of this term. But in the weeks that would follow, teams would come down from that spike. They would use Weldon as a consultant, a quick fix for their problems, and then discontinued investing in his services. Teams had identified that a sports psychologist could help them, but failed to recognize the time and commitment needed to see a lasting impact. Now, we are seeing a pattern. Teams that utilize performance coaches in the long term find success, like Immortals, CLG, the last 2 splits, and TSM right now. They have people on staff staying up late, making plans and stressing so that their players don't have to. Now, I'm not attributing all of a team's success to their coaching staff. When the player's up on stage, it is 99% them and 1% the coach. But that 1% holds the key to unlocking the other 99% so they can perform to their full potential. Normally, a psychologist is there to help create a healthy work-life balance, but at the highest levels of competition, it's about finding well-being without a well-balanced life. We criticize pro players when they get girlfriends. The more you train, the better you become, but the more is demanded of you and the more you have to sacrifice to become a champion. It's because of this that performance coaches are becoming a necessity in professional League of Legends. Teams are made up of 5 or more young adults that must work together to compete, all live in the same house and are in the public eye while having very little privacy themselves. With all of this stress, players are also required to take on a training regimen that exceeds most traditional sports, having to scrim 8 hours a day and keep your skills sharp in solo queue, all while tending to their mindset and their lives. I, for one, am shocked when I learn a team doesn't have a sports and performance psychologist on staff. Because in order to compete at that highest level, you have to be consistent, operate as a team, practice hard, and have all of that happen all while avoiding burnout. And providing those services for a team is their fucking job description. It's not salt, it's just being real.
Hey everybody, I'm Jatt, this is Kobe. We're here again for This or That. We've done this a lot of times. I think
you don't know by now.
Yeah, it's gonna be the best one I think we've ever done. We have 5 slides, which is fewer slides than we had last time, which to me makes me think that
each one has to be
better.
That much more important.
They're gonna be such high quality. Let's get into the first one. I will be so disappointed if they're not. All right, is CLG underperforming or just plain bad? Ooh.
I mean, they got second place at MSI. You can't just say they're bad.
Just bad.
Of course
I'm not
they're
a fan. You always do have to ask the questions like, are they underperforming or is this their actual record? Like, technically they are what their record indicates, but I think they are better than they have been playing because they're back-to-back champions.
So they have the same players that we have seen perform at a high level. We've seen them win the North American LCS. We've seen them compete in international play. So I would say they're underperforming. I feel like that's kind of the definition.
They're underperforming.
This one.
Let's go to number 2. Next slide. Better ADC, Sneaky or Reckless?
Ooh.
EU versus NA here.
So I do have NA bias, but I did meet Reckless personally when we were at Paris in All-Stars a long time ago. So I've known him for so long. This is really rough.
Yeah.
Who's the actual better AD
There's a couple
carry?
things like Sneaky. There's that whole thing about him being underrated. I like to think there's really strong AD carry competition in NA.
Yeah.
But I also think Reckless gets a bunch of shade thrown at him, like totally undeservedly.
Follow-up cleanup AD carry?
He's a cleanup.
No,
like this dude is actually really good, and he's a really try-hard player. So like,
I'm still gonna go NA though. I'll go this.
I'll go Reckless to keep it balanced. Now, before we get to the third slide, someone just told me it's a Game of Thrones spoiler, which just makes my mind
roll it
race.
before they can change.
Turn it off right now if you haven't watched Game of Thrones up to the 9th episode.
If you haven't watched it, you
final
should feel
season.
shame anyway.
Yeah, who was worse at dodging arrows?
Wait, well let me. Rocket, this looks pretty bad.
Yeah,
they get hit a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is only one. I remember only one arrow right through the heart.
Yeah, but he just ran in a straight line. He was like 100 feet away.
He didn't really try.
Juke to the side a little bit once in a while. It takes a while to get there. I blame Rickon a little bit. It was more dramatic that way, I imagine.
I mean, this was really sad too, but
they got hit by a lot of arrows.
I have to say, this was actually pathetic.
Yes.
I'll go with that.
I go with that. That was high quality. That's why we only have 5 here. Let's go to the fourth slide. Who had a worse week, Faker or Steph?
Oh God!
Steph Curry.
I have to go Steph Curry for
It's not
sure.
even close.
I'm from Oakland. He let us down.
Yeah, he missed a bunch of threes down the stretch. I mean, Faker, he got like danced on by Mickey.
I thought the last slide was bad. This slide is
Spoilers,
bad.
by the way, Faker lost to the Africa Freaks. Terrible week, but like, it's the regular season, dude. That's like Steph Curry losing 2 games.
That loss doesn't really matter. This loss was for the fucking championship.
It affects his legacy a little bit. Okay, definitely Steph Curry. Let's get to the final slide that we've never seen before. River Freak.
Ooh.
You gotta be careful with this answer.
Ooh.
Who do you cast with next?
River, I don't know. Ooh, I think I cast with Riv next. I'll go Riv.
I'm just gonna list the positive qualities.
Oh, okay. This should be good.
Yeah.
Just a very short list. It'll
Riv
be like
is a silver fox, a young George Clooney, one would think, and he's very smooth.
So looks, he's going looks for Riv. Okay.
Yeah. Freak as well, has personality, and he's very fun to theory craft with.
He does.
So it's really like, I mean, Riv is also a smart guy, but Freak, I cast with Riv next. Riv is better. I'm going
whoa, we're super biased.
Silver
on
Fox.
This one. We're both
Silver
Riv.
Fox. Yeah, I'm sorry, Freak. These guys trying to trip us up with these last questions. That'll do it for this or that. You can tweet to us at LOL Sports or at Kobe or at Jatt.
Or at Freak to let him know that he got burned.
Rivington the third being like, they all like you, congratulations. We didn't see enough tweets last week. I'm just gonna say that because I wanna get more tweets. It's fun stuff.
Okay, me too. I like tweets.
That'll do it for this or that.
It's time for the regional rundown where we sit down, and we're starting with the LMS. After earning their region a top seed for this year's Worlds at MSI, the Flash Wolves have come out strong for the summer split. They 2-0'd AHQ for the first time in a regular season series and are currently undefeated, aka doesn't suck.
AKA does not. That's very correct, man. 8.5 Team KDA, first in the LMS, 100% first Towers, 100% first Dragon, suggests that, well, look, they're stepping up their macro game. They're doing quite well for themselves. It's still early, but honestly, look, we've kind of known for a while Flash Wolves are one of the best, if not the best team in the region.
And they're showing it right now. In the rest of the standings, J-Team sit behind the Flash Wolves, while Hong Kong Esports and AHQ are tied for third place. Maki, Midnight Sun, Extreme Gamers, and Team Mist round out the bottom half of the table. Now in the LCK, where not only did Jin Air beat SKT, but so too did the Africa Freaks in a crazy, crazy game. Jin Air went 2-1 in their series against the world champions, bringing out the rare but strangely fabulous sight of Angry Coma. What's even more surprising is that after beating SKT, they would go on to lose to a substantially weaker team in the LCK, MVP.
Yep, that was the team that SKT perfect game. I know, it's weird. Korea does weird things. That's okay. You know what? It's fine. It's a long season. I'm sure these teams will get back to where they're supposed to be.
That's true.
Yeah. Either way, though, you're seeing kind of the records here, right? The score lines and whatnot. Jin Air Green Wings doing some cool things for themselves against SKT. They had a 4.7 KDA, 340 gold in 20 minutes. Against MVP, obviously it was much, much worse. Look, losing games looks bad. That's how stats work. You know, no big surprises here.
And now, if we were surprised about Jin Air winning, we were even more surprised when the Africa Freaks 2-0'd SKT earlier this morning. Could this be the world's curse coming back to haunt them now? Is it kind of almost tenfold this time?
In my mind, I can't say that because they already started this year off doing really well and smashing the Mid-Season Invitational in the playoff and already winning the spring split. They'll probably still end up winning the summer split. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, okay, that 2-bad series. Technically, you can draw a line with 2 points, but I feel like there's more to it than this.
There will be more, probably a lot more SKT victories coming in the future. Yeah. And with their 2 losses, however, this is how the rest of the standings shape up. SKT barely hold on to first place as 5 teams currently sit on 5 match wins. If SKT continue to stumble, we're going to be in for a barn burner to see how the top of the table shapes up. Now finally to the LPL, and the first week of intergroup play has left most of us scratching our heads as to who is actually better than who between the 2 groups. The only thing that we're certain about is that EDG are now at the top of the food chain in the LPL after their win over Royal Never Give Up. They took the series 2-1, and Deft had some amazing games in that match. You're always hearing his name.
Dude,
Deft being Deft.
I love seeing Def do incredibly well. He's one of my absolute favorite players and amazing AD carry. He plays so many different styles of champions as well. You can see him playing very utility-focused ones right here in this set. Really, really high KP as well. That's always a really big one. 81% is quite high, especially when you're playing champions that aren't just Saber. That actually means you have to do something reasonably difficult to get in there. His Ezreal was super good as well, 18 KDA on that one at the very end of the series. So a great player. I'm glad he's staying on form, by the way. There's plenty of really good players that go over to China and then stop doing well. Deft has remained a stellar AD carry.
The most crazy Ashe arrows we're going to see later. Now, as for the rest of the standings, it gets a little harder to decipher because apparently every team capable of beating every team and other team, unless, of course, you're Saint Gaming.
Yeah, so we can talk about Saint in a little bit, but let's talk about some of the cool things. So Snake are good, they're fun. SOFM is really cool, but they lost the series to LGD, who had previously only beaten OMG. OMG got their first match win against Invictus Gaming, and then Game Talents beat World Elite, but lost to Invictus Gaming 2 weeks ago. Look, there's a lot of pretty closely skilled teams here in China. Honestly, I think the playoffs picture itself will be really interesting to look at down the line, honestly. It's just a bunch of matches, and eventually you will see the consistency start to rear its head, and you'll start seeing who the top sort of 3 teams per group are.
We will. It's going to take a while. It's the middle, not even the middle. I guess it's just the start. It's just we've played more games, so it feels like we've gone farther. So I guess we do have a lot more to see from these teams.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the part of the show that starts with T and ends with Enta. The Penta. Coming in at number 5, Cloud9 picked up the sneaky Dragonsteel.
So much pressure put on Cloud9. They lose to GAs.
Oh my God!
He stole the
Elder Dragon! Sneaky!
Here we have it once again. He has vision. They don't actually clear out this ward. Shoots the W. Are you kidding me?
At number 4, KT Arrow's aim was steady as he hit Crown from downtown.
And they are being very still right now, working around that Rek'Sai. They're going to see him there so they can move again.
Yep.
Guys, you can move.
Hello. They're waiting for the arrow. Is it going to hit? Yes, it does. Finds Crown, but can they actually finalize anything on this one? Actually, yes, they can. The hook comes through. He's going to get popped.
From Brazil's CB LOL, INTZ's Jockster brought on the pain with his calculated Alistar combo in our number 3 play.
E o toque sem teleporte se precisar chegar e virar um 5. E olha isso! O Jockster conseguiu! Enquanto isso tem sofreu exaustão. Tenta fugir, mas não tem como. Yang fica com a eliminação. Resetou o Q dele. Pode tentar algo a mais. Sertuli Kami chega agora também na proteção. Mas é tarde demais. Está eliminado, Taeyeon.
At number 2, EDG's Deft put on a true display of skill in this 1v2.
Whoa, forward. That's very aggressive. Maker is going to get stunned down. Boomerang comes back to the other side as Uzi. He's going to be able to take down Scout, who flashes forward. No, Def, sorry. He's going to try and jump on top of Uzi. Finds a return kill. Def picking that one up. Now, you can see Mutton trying to chase him down. They're going for it. We get the auto attack down. Def is trying to cut him. Def is going to be able to take him down. One more Mystic shot's all going to take. Gets the kill.
And soaring into number 1, it was Rox Tiger's Prey with the ultimate Ashe arrow from across the rift to secure the victory.
Ray finds the mid.
Might get
in
more.
him. He might be looking for more. They're going to try to recall, but Rox is just going to keep pitching in onto them, trying to deny this one. Expansion going to go ahead, use the teleport, but they interrupt him. He can't go back. It's going to be just Bray sitting on the Nexus towers with the Parent and Bowered minions. He finds one of them, and Rox disengaging, trying to keep away from Longshu as long as they can. Looks like the recall will come through Fury. Can he do enough? TP being used by Smeb. They're just going to try to finish this one right here at 42 and a half minutes. It's already exposed. Fury goes down. Rox Tigers beautifully played. Deny the backs from Longshu and take them down with the back door from Bray and the TP from Smeb. Wow, what a way for that game to end.
Big plays don't come cheap. They're earned with blood, sweat, and tweets. So make sure when you see a big play, you hit us up at LOL Esports with the hashtag the Penta, and we'll make sure your hard work is rewarded as always.
Of course, we got your back.
And to close out the day, we have to say, sorry, Faker. We know you had a bad week, though there is still something for you to smile about. After all, you did score yourself a pentakill in this week's last hit.
혹시 저희랑 인터뷰에서 약간 좀 아쉬움이 남는다.
예, 더 보고 싶은 또 사람이 있을 수도 있는 거고. 좀 아쉽네요.
더블 킬. 이거 되네, 더블 킬.
1세트에서도
그렇죠, 예.
아우렐리오 소리 나와서 아슬아슬했던 장면. 거기서 혹시 나 이거 잡혔구나. 잡힐 것 같다고 생각한 적은 없었고.
망했어요.
실수를 해서 제가. 예, 그래서 결론은 페이커 선수가 실수해서 킬을 냈어요.
트리플 킬.
썸데이 선수가 진짜 마음 먹고 나온 듯 탑 야스오를.
솔직히 야소가 나왔을 때 썸데이 선수 클래스로 될까라는 생각을 했어요.
쿼드라 킬. 페이커 선수 오늘 또 경기 앞두고 캡틴 잭 선수가 또 해서 이렇게 하고 있는데
캐스파컵 해서 잘 보고 있고요.
페이커입니다. 여러 가지 슈퍼 플레이들이 그냥 다 나왔습니다.
그렇죠?
그렇습니다. 역시 페이커.
기분 좋네요.